The story begins in a quiet town in Florida. A young boy named Rob lives in an old hotel with his father. One morning, Rob wakes up and gets ready for school like every other day. There is still some time before the school bus arrives, so he decides to take a short walk in the nearby forest. The place is completely silent. Rob slowly walks between the tall trees. As he moves deeper into the woods, he suddenly remembers the worst moment of his life. Just a few months ago, his mother passed away. He remembers standing alone at her funeral. He felt helpless, and those memories still hurt him deeply. Even so, Rob keeps walking without saying a word. After a while, he notices something strange. Hidden between the trees is an old wooden cabin. It looks like nobody has lived there for many years. Curious, Rob walks closer to the cabin, but as soon as he gets near, he freezes in fear. Outside the cabin, he sees a huge tiger locked inside a strong metal cage. The tiger looks incredibly powerful, but at the same time, it also looks trapped and helpless. For a few seconds, Rob and the tiger look directly into each other's eyes. It almost feels as if the tiger recognizes him. Rob becomes terrified. His heart starts beating very fast. Without wasting another second, he quickly turns around and runs all the way back to the hotel. As soon as he gets home, he grabs his school bag and rushes outside to catch the school bus. But riding the bus is never easy for him. A group of boys often bullies him. They make fun of him and say hurtful things. Rob keeps his head down and stays quiet. He has learned to ignore them. A little later, the bus stops at another stop and a new girl gets on. Her name is Sistine. As soon as the bullies hear her name, they begin making fun of her as well. Sistine gets angry, but she decides not to argue with them. Instead, she quietly walks to an empty seat and sits down. Later, during class, the teacher is explaining the lesson to everyone. But Rob is not paying attention at all. His mind is still thinking about the tiger he saw in the forest. Instead of listening to the teacher, he takes out a piece of paper and starts drawing the tiger. In his drawing, the tiger is finally free. It is no longer inside the cage. It is walking proudly through the forest. While drawing, Rob begins thinking about his mother again. She was very talented at carving wood. She was also the one who taught him how to make small wooden figures. Those memories bring a small smile to his face, but they also fill his eyes with tears. Suddenly, the teacher calls Rob's name. She tells him that the principal wants to see him in the office right away. Rob is confused because he has no idea why he has been called. When he reaches the office, the principal asks him to sit down. Then he carefully looks at Rob's feet. Rob has a serious skin condition that causes red marks and painful sores on his feet. The principal explains that some parents at the school are worried that their children might catch the disease. Before Rob leaves, the principal tells him to keep taking his medicine on time and to take good care of himself. He also says that he is going to write a letter to Rob's father. In the letter, he wants to suggest that Rob should stay at home for some time until the situation gets better. After hearing this, Rob quietly walks out of the office. As he is walking through the hallway, he notices a teacher accidentally drop several books and papers on the floor. Without thinking twice, Rob quickly walks over and helps the teacher pick everything up. The teacher smiles warmly and thanks Rob for helping her. She introduces herself as Miss Mills. A moment later, she notices the paper Rob is holding in his hand. Curious, she asks him what he has drawn. Rob is very shy by nature, but he quietly hands the drawing to her. As soon as Miss Mills looks at it, she is amazed. It is a picture of the same tiger that Rob saw in the forest that morning. She praises his drawing and tells him that he has an incredible talent. She encourages him to keep drawing because he is very gifted. Before leaving, she tells Rob that she will be away for a few days. She also asks him to keep making more drawings so he can show them to her when she returns. Rob smiles and quietly nods in agreement. A little later, the school day comes to an end. Rob is standing outside the building, waiting for the school bus. While waiting, he notices several children running across the playground. They are chasing the new girl, Sistine. The boys keep making fun of her name and refuse to leave her alone. After putting up with them for a long time, Sistine finally loses her temper. She suddenly turns around and punches one of the girls standing in front of her. But that girl is much older and bigger than Sistine. The next second, she pushes Sistine so hard that she falls straight to the ground. Rob becomes nervous after seeing this. Even though he is scared himself, he still runs toward them to stop the fight. He tells the bullies to stop and leave Sistine alone. But instead of helping, his words make things worse. The bullies stop paying attention to Sistine and turn toward Rob instead. It looks like he has become their next target. Realizing the danger, Rob quickly runs away from them. A short time later, Sistine gets onto the school bus. Her clothes are dirty after the fight, and her hair is completely messy. The other children on the bus start making fun of her once again. Feeling angry and embarrassed, Sistine walks to the back of the bus and sits in the empty seat next to Rob. She starts complaining that she already hates this town and the rude kids who live here. Rob quietly listens to everything she says. Then he tries to cheer her up by telling her about the skin condition on his feet. He explains that it causes painful sores and a burning feeling. After hearing this, Sistine comes up with a strange idea. She jokingly says that if she could catch the same disease, she would not have to come to school anymore and could stay home instead. She asks Rob if there is any way he can give the disease to her. Rob calmly explains that it is impossible because his condition is not contagious. It cannot spread to anyone else. After hearing that, Sistine begins to feel sorry for him. She promises that if Rob has to stay home from school, she will bring all of his homework to his house so he does not fall behind in his studies. That evening, Rob's father reads the letter sent by the principal. As soon as he finishes reading it, he becomes very angry. He cannot believe that the school is still worried about the same issue even after he has explained it many times. He has repeatedly told them that Rob's skin condition is not contagious, but no one at the school seems willing to believe him. In the end, he decides that it is better for Rob to stay home for now. After that, he gives Rob a medicine injection in his foot to help treat the painful sores. Once the injection is done, he quietly goes into the kitchen to prepare dinner. Later that night, while everything is quiet, Rob sits alone in his room doing what he loves the most. Using a small carving knife, he carefully shapes a piece of wood. As he carves, he cannot stop thinking about the tiger he saw in the forest that morning. The image of that powerful yet helpless animal is still clear in his mind. While carving the wood, Rob gets an idea. He starts making a small wooden figure that looks just like Sistine. After finishing it, he becomes tired and lies down on his bed. Before long, he falls asleep. That night, Rob has a very strange dream. In his dream, Sistine is running fearlessly through the middle of the forest, but she is not alone. She is riding on the back of the huge tiger. The two of them race between the trees as if the entire forest belongs to them. The next morning, Rob starts helping with the work around the hotel, just as he does every day. A cleaning lady named Willie works there, and she cares a lot about Rob. After working for a while, Willie takes a short break. She smiles and gives Rob a piece of chewing gum to eat. A few hours later, the school bus passes by the hotel. At that moment, Rob is outside taking care of the garden. As soon as the boys on the bus see him, they decide to bother him again. One of them throws something at Rob. It hits him hard in the ribs and causes him a lot of pain. Rob holds his side and tries to ignore it. Deep inside, he is angry. He is tired of being bullied every single day. Then a thought suddenly comes into his mind. He wonders what would happen if the tiger from the forest were standing beside him. Would it help him teach those bullies a lesson? Just then, the bus stops at the nearby bus stop and Sistine gets off. She walks straight over to Rob and keeps the promise she made. She hands him all of his school homework. Rob thanks her. Then he feels that it is finally time to tell her about his secret. He tells Sistine about the tiger he discovered deep inside the forest. The moment she hears this, her eyes light up with excitement. Without wasting any time, she asks Rob to take her there right away because she wants to see the tiger with her own eyes. Rob explains that the tiger is far inside the forest and they will have to walk a long distance to reach the place. Before leaving, Sistine asks if she can borrow some clothes. The two of them run into the hotel and go to Rob's father's room. While waiting, Sistine notices several small wooden figures placed around the room. Rob made every one of them with his own hands. She carefully looks at each carving and is truly amazed by his talent. While admiring them, she tells Rob that the famous artist Michelangelo also carved sculptures before becoming a painter. Smiling, she tells him that he is a real artist too. A moment later, she notices one small wooden figure that looks exactly like her. It is the same carving Rob made the previous night. Sistine laughs happily and tells him that everything he creates is amazing. Hearing so much praise makes Rob feel shy and he does not know what to say. Sistine then reminds him that she still needs to change her clothes. Rob quickly gives her some clothes and waits outside until she is ready. A little later, they both leave together and head into the forest. After walking for some time, they finally reach the old cabin where the tiger is locked inside the cage. As they stand in front of it, both of them are left speechless. Even behind the thick iron bars, the tiger looks huge and incredibly powerful. Sistine keeps staring at the beautiful animal. Then she asks Rob why such a magnificent creature is being kept inside a cage in the middle of the forest. Rob guesses that the tiger probably belongs to Bochamp, the owner of the hotel. Hearing this makes Sistine very angry. She believes that keeping a wild animal locked up for someone's entertainment is completely wrong. She wants to set the tiger free right away. Rob agrees with her, but he explains that it is not that simple. A heavy lock is hanging on the cage, and they do not have any tool to break it open. Just then, they suddenly hear the sound of a vehicle coming from somewhere nearby. The person driving the vehicle is Bochamp. He is heading straight toward the cabin. Afraid of being caught, Rob and Sistine quickly run away. They hide behind bushes as they make their way back to the motel. When they arrive, Rob's father is already waiting for him. Rob immediately introduces Sistine to his father. Sistine politely greets him, then walks over to a nearby phone booth so she can call home and ask someone to pick her up. While she is making the call, Rob's father talks to her for a moment. He is happy to learn that Rob has finally made a friend. It makes him glad to know that his son now has someone to spend time with. A little later, Rob returns the borrowed clothes to Sistine, and the two of them wait together for her family to arrive. After a short short time, a car pulls up outside the motel. It is Sistine's mother. As soon as she steps out of the car, she starts scolding Sistine. She is upset because Sistine disappeared for several hours without telling anyone. Then she notices the clothes Sistine is wearing. She immediately asks why she has changed into someone else's clothes, but Sistine is not afraid of her mother's strict attitude. Trying to calm the situation, her mother turns to Rob and says that Sistine only listens to her father. Hearing this makes Sistine even angrier. The argument between them quickly becomes more serious. In the end, Sistine stomps back to the car in frustration. She and her mother continue arguing as they drive away. Rob quietly watches them leave. He cannot understand what just happened. After that, he slowly walks back inside the hotel. The next morning, Rob once again helps Willie with the cleaning work. While they are working, a question has been bothering him for a long time. He finally asks Willie if it is right for people to keep wild animals locked inside cages. Willie pauses for a moment before answering, then she begins telling him a story from her childhood. She says that when she was a little girl, her father gave her a small green bird as a gift. Willie loved that little bird very much. But after some time, she started feeling sad every time she saw it trapped inside a cage. She believed the bird deserved to be free. So one day, she secretly opened the cage door and let it fly away. When her father found out what she had done, he became furious. He punished Willie and told her that setting the bird free had not helped it at all. Instead, he said she had only turned it into an easy meal for a snake in the wild. After hearing this story, Rob becomes quiet and starts thinking deeply. Willie notices that he is still thinking about her words, so she adds one more thing. She says she has never regretted what she did. Even now, she sometimes dreams about that little green bird flying freely through the open sky and singing happily. Thinking about that always brings her peace. Later that afternoon, Rob is cleaning near the edge of the hotel when he suddenly runs into Bochamp, the owner of the hotel. Bochamp calls Rob over and tells him that he has a small job for him. He even offers to pay him for it. Rob is confused, but he listens carefully. Bochamp explains that a few days earlier, he captured a very rare wild animal. The animal now needs someone to feed it every day and take care of it because he does not want to do the work himself. The moment Rob hears this, he realizes Bochamp is talking about the tiger, but he cleverly pretends that he has no idea which animal he means. Rob makes an excuse and says that he cannot go because his father asked him to help Willie with her work. As soon as Bochamp hears that, he becomes angry. In a rude voice, he says that Rob's father has no authority over him. Then he orders Rob to come with him immediately. With no choice left, Rob quietly follows behind him. Soon, the two of them arrive at the same cabin deep inside the forest where the tiger is being kept. When Rob sees the tiger inside the cage, he pretends to be surprised, as if he is seeing it for the very first time. Bochamp proudly explains that someone gave him the tiger to pay off a debt. After that, he shows Rob how to feed the animal properly. Suddenly, the tiger makes a powerful leap toward the front of the cage. Bochamp gets so frightened that he stumbles backward and falls to the ground. Rob almost laughs after seeing this, but he quickly controls himself so Bochamp does not notice. A few moments later, Bochamp hands Rob a bunch of keys and tells him that feeding the tiger is now his responsibility. Before leaving, Bochamp starts making fun of the tiger and calls it useless. But the animal quickly answers back in its own way. The tiger sprays a foul-smelling liquid at Bochamp, leaving him completely covered in it. Bochamp shouts in disgust and immediately rushes away, taking Rob with him. Rob notices that even though the tiger is trapped inside a cage, it still knows how to fight back and show its anger. Before they reach the hotel, Bochamp suddenly stops and gives Rob a serious warning. He tells him that the tiger must remain a secret. If anyone finds out about it, he could get into serious trouble. Then he hands Rob a plastic bag filled with raw meat. He promises to bring more meat the next day so Rob can continue feeding the tiger. Just then, a car drives past them. It is Rob's teacher, Miss Mills. She slows down after seeing Bochamp acting strangely. She asks what is going on. Rob quickly answers that everything is fine. But Bochamp rudely interrupts her and tells her to mind her own business. Before driving away, Miss Mills looks at Rob and reminds him to come and see her as soon as he returns to school. As soon as she leaves, Bochamp warns Rob once again not to tell anyone about the tiger. Later, Rob hides the bag of raw meat somewhere around the hotel because he does not want his father to find it. After finishing his work, Rob carefully looks at the keys that Bochamp gave him. One question keeps coming back into his mind. Should he use these keys to set the tiger free? At that moment, the school bus passes by the hotel again. Sistine gets off the bus and runs over to Rob. She is excited and wants to see the tiger again. The two friends hurry back into the forest together. When they reach the cage, Rob decides that he cannot keep the truth from Sistine anymore. He tells her everything that happened with Bochamp. He also shows her the keys and explains that he is now responsible for feeding the tiger. Hearing this makes Sistine even more excited. She believes everything has changed because they now have the keys. That means they can open the cage and free the tiger whenever they want. She tells Rob that such a beautiful wild animal does not belong inside a cage, but Rob is still unsure. He cannot stop thinking about Willie's story about the little bird. He tries to explain to Sistine that if they release the tiger, it might not survive alone in the forest, but Sistine refuses to listen. She believes that freedom is everyone's right, no matter what happens afterward. Then she makes a decision that changes everything. Sistine decides that she is going to free the tiger, even if she has to do it all by herself. While arguing with Rob, she grabs the cage with both hands and starts shaking it with all her strength. Her anger slowly turns into tears and she breaks down crying. Rob cannot bear to see her like that. He quietly walks over to her and gently tries to comfort her. After a while, Sistine wipes the tears from her eyes. She realizes that even if she cannot free the tiger right now, she can still make its life a little better. She walks over to the cage and removes the thick cover that is placed on top of it. Now the tiger can breathe fresh air and look up at the open sky. That night, Rob and Sistine stay beside the cage for a long time. The two friends lie on the ground and quietly look at the stars above them. The tiger also rests peacefully nearby. After spending hours together, they finally leave the forest and head back to the hotel. As soon as they arrive, they run into Willie, the cleaning lady. Sistine is still upset, so she speaks to Willie in a rude way. Surprisingly, Willie does not get angry at all. Instead, she gently tells Sistine that she understands how she feels. Willie explains that she was also a rebellious child when she was young. Then she gives Sistine an important lesson. She says that she must learn to control her anger because life will never solve her problems on its own. Hearing these words, Sistine becomes completely quiet. A few moments later, Willie gets into her car and drives away, while Rob and Sistine silently watch her leave. After saying goodbye to Sistine, Rob walks into the house. There he finds his father holding the same plastic bag filled with raw meat. His father is furious. He angrily asks Rob where this rotten meat came from. Even though Rob was told to keep the secret, he does not lie to his father. He honestly tells him that Bochamp gave it to him, but instead of calming down, his father becomes even angrier. He believes that Bochamp sent the meat as an insult, as if they were so poor that they would eat anything. Feeling deeply humiliated, Rob's father throws the bag of meat against the wall. After that, he sits down and tries to calm himself. Rob becomes worried after seeing his father's condition. He walks over because he wants to talk to him, but his father tells him that he wants to be alone. Rob quietly leaves the room with a heavy heart. To take his mind off everything, he picks up another piece of wood and starts carving again. It is the only thing that brings him peace. The next morning, Rob stands outside his room looking at one of the wooden figures he has made. In his imagination, the little carving comes to life and begins playing around him. A little later, Rob gives Willie a small wooden bird that he carved as a gift. Willie's face lights up with happiness. She truly loves the thoughtful present. Just then, the school bus arrives, and Sistine comes over to see Rob. She tells him that her mother has become even angrier with her because of her behavior. She has even forbidden Sistine from meeting Rob anymore, but Sistine has already decided that she will not follow those rules. She asks Rob where Willie is because she believes Willie is the only person who can tell them what they should do about the tiger. When the two children tell Willie about the tiger locked inside the cage, she cannot believe them at first. To prove that they are telling the truth, Rob and Sistine take her deep into the forest to the old cabin. The moment Willie sees the huge tiger with her own eyes, she becomes very angry. She says that only someone like Bochamp could do something so cruel to an innocent animal. Sistine immediately asks Willie what they should do now. She encourages Rob to open the cage right away, but Willie stops them before they can do anything. She explains that even though Bochamp is a bad man, setting the tiger free may not be the right decision. The animal has been living in captivity for a long time. If they suddenly release it into the wild, it might not be able to survive on its own. But Sistine refuses to agree. She says that wild animals are meant to live free, just like the other big cats in the area. She believes the tiger will learn how to survive in the forest. Willie quietly listens to both of them. Then she says something very important. She looks into the children's eyes and explains that sometimes the right decision is not the safest one. That is why she does not want them to get into such a dangerous situation. But Sistine does not agree with her at all. She says that she will wait for her father to return because she is sure he will understand her and help set the tiger free. Just then, Rob says something that completely surprises Sistine. He tells her that maybe her mother is right about her father. Maybe he is not the person she believes him to be. The moment Sistine hears those words, she becomes furious. She is deeply hurt. In anger, she tells Rob that their friendship is over. She shouts that she hates him and never wants to talk to him again. After saying that, she storms away. Rob stands there looking sad. Willie tries to comfort him and asks him to come back to the hotel with her. But after walking only a short distance, Rob sees Sistine in the the distance. Without thinking twice, he runs after her. When he finally catches up to her, he makes a big decision. He tells her that he has changed his mind and is now ready to help free the tiger. At first, Sistine cannot believe what she is hearing, but Rob tells her that he is doing this because their friendship means so much to him. Just then, Bochamp arrives in his vehicle. After greeting Sistine, he gives Rob another job. He tells him that another package of meat will soon arrive at the hotel, and Rob will need to collect it. Rob calmly agrees so that Bochamp does not become suspicious. Bochamp also says that he has some important business with Rob's father before driving away. As soon as he leaves, Rob and Sistine realize that this is the perfect chance. They run as fast as they can through the forest until they reach the cage. Without wasting a second, Rob takes the keys out of his pocket and starts unlocking the heavy locks one by one. They know that the tiger has not eaten anything for the last 2 days. Even so, they gather their courage and open the cage door. As soon as the door opens, the huge tiger slowly stands up. Rob steps back and loudly says, "Go, you're free now." Sistine gently tells him to be quiet. She says that the tiger understands everything. The powerful animal slowly walks out of the cage and stops right in front of the two children. For a brief moment, Rob and Sistine gently touch its fur. Then the tiger turns around and begins walking into the forest. Its mighty roar echoes through the trees. Rob and Sistine watch proudly as the tiger disappears into the thick bushes. They truly believe they have done the right thing, but only a few moments later, everything suddenly changes. A loud gunshot breaks the silence of the forest. The sound is so shocking that Sistine drops to the ground in fear. She struggles to catch her breath. Terrified, both children run toward the road where the sound came from. When they finally arrive, they see a heartbreaking sight that leaves them completely frozen. The huge tiger is lying motionless on the ground. The moment Rob sees it, he is completely heartbroken. He believes that his father shot the tiger to save Bochamp after the tiger attacked him and knocked him to the ground. Just then, Willie also arrives at the scene. Rob rushes to the tiger, falls to his knees beside it, and starts crying. Through his tears, he asks his father why he did such a terrible thing, but the truth is very different. In a broken voice, Rob's father explains that it was all a terrible accident. A little earlier, he and Bochamp had a serious argument. During the fight, Bochamp pulled out his revolver and tried to shoot him. As they struggled over the gun, it suddenly went off. Sadly, the bullet struck the tiger instead. Rob's father says he never wanted to kill the innocent animal. It was simply a tragic accident. Even after hearing the truth, Rob cannot control his emotions. He runs toward his father, pushes him, and shouts that he hates him. He cries that he does not want to live with him anymore. Then Rob finally says the words that have been buried inside his heart for years. He demands that his father say his mother's name out loud. Ever since she died, his father has never spoken her name even once. Seeing the pain in his son's heart, the father's strong emotions finally break. His lips begin to tremble as he softly says, "Caroline." The moment he says her name, he bursts into tears and pulls Rob into a tight hug. Nearby, Willie gently hugs Sistine and comforts her through the painful moment. At the same time, Rob's father helps Bochamp get back onto his feet. There is nothing left for anyone to say. Bochamp quietly leaves without another word. Willie comforts the children by telling them that the tiger is now in a better place. Then she notices something unexpected. She looks down at Rob's feet and sees that the old sores are healing much faster than before. A peaceful smile appears on her face. After saying their final goodbye to the tiger, everyone starts walking away. Sistine looks at Rob and apologizes for all the hurtful things she said to him earlier. With tears in her eyes, she tells him that she could never find a friend as true as him. As they continue walking, they find the drawing of the tiger that Rob had made. Sistine carefully looks at it and once again praises his amazing talent. Smiling, Rob gives the drawing to her as a gift. To thank him, Sistine gently kisses him on the cheek. Then the two friends walk away together. Even though the day ends with sadness, it changes their lives forever. Because in the end, freedom means something different to everyone. And maybe the tiger finally found a place far better than that lonely forest. And with that, this story ends here. If you liked this video, then like it and subscribe to our channel to watch more such videos. Thanks for watching.